All right. Trump is dealing with impeachment articles and the prospect of imprisonment. And both of these situations are developing at exactly the same time. And that's a massive convergence that has the potential to alter everything. Impeachment articles have been submitted in the House detailing 7 separate counts. There are articles addressing obstruction, articles on taking congressional authority, and even an article specifically concerning tyranny. Tyranny. The House is formally charging Trump with trying to institute tyrannical governance. This isn't your typical political dispute or just Democrats being partisan. This is a formal institutional charge. The allegation is that Trump is trying to become a tyrant. At the same time, federal judges are cautioning that his disregard of court orders might result in criminal contempt, which means Trump could genuinely be imprisoned. Federal judges are issuing opinions, laying out the legal pathway from him disregarding court decisions to him facing imprisonment. Judges are stating if Trump keeps defying their orders, they are ready to hold Trump in criminal contempt. They've indicated they have the capability to locate him and imprison him and are detailing the precise process. So you have Congress moving forward on impeachment while judges are preparing to hold Trump in contempt, with both branches of government simultaneously increasing the pressure on Trump. And this isn't conjecture or hypothesis. This is occurring right now. Impeachment articles have been submitted. Judges already determined probable cause for contempt. The entire machinery is now in action. The entire machinery is advancing, and Trump is losing time to alter direction. Here's the situation with Judge James Boasberg. He determined Trump's administration breached his court order on deportations. Boasberg had explicitly ordered that asylum seekers couldn't be deported. Boasberg had issued a formal injunction. He was clear, do not deport these individuals. Yet Trump's administration proceeded and did it. The Trump administration deported the people regardless. They breached the court's directive. And once Boasberg learned this, Boasberg essentially said, all right, you're in contempt. He determined probable cause to hold the administration in criminal contempt. Boasberg established a deadline for them to rectify the issue or else face contempt hearings. That is a believable threat with real consequences. And this isn't just an isolated situation. It's a distinct pattern. The Trump administration is defying court orders everywhere. His administration is challenging judges, behaving like court orders are merely suggestions and completely disregarding rulings that tell them what they are not permitted to do. And the judges have reached their limit. They are now cautioning that if this continues, they will use their contempt powers. They're going to hold Trump officials in contempt. They're going to issue fines, and they're going to order imprisonment. The judges are essentially saying enough is enough. This is generating a perfect storm. You have the impeachment articles. You have judges getting contempt charges prepared. You have both branches of government closing in on Trump simultaneously. And you have the House pushing for removal while judges are working toward imprisonment, leaving Trump trapped in the middle with no simple way out. Seriously, this is completely enormous. This appears like the end game. This is the path it's all taking. Trump faces removal and imprisonment at the same time. All right. First, let's go through the impeachment articles so you can comprehend exactly what Congress is formally charging Trump with. Representative Sri Thanadar introduced House Resolution 353 on April 28, 2025. House Resolution 353 is indeed an impeachment resolution. An impeachment resolution is a formal proposal to impeach the president. It lays out the particular charges, it details the justification for removal, and argues that the president committed high crimes and misdemeanors. In House Resolution 353, the resolution contains 7 separate articles, which are 7 distinct grounds for impeachment. Let's break them down. The first article addresses obstruction of justice and a breach of duty. It claims Trump obstructed justice and violated his official obligations. His duty to the Constitution. The president's duty is to uphold the Constitution and to obey the law. His duty is to respect the separation of powers, and the article claims he breached those duties and obstructed justice. He is charged with violating his constitutional responsibilities. The second article is about taking Congress's power of appropriations, also known as the power of the purse. Congress decides how money is spent and what gets funded. but Trump is charged with seizing that power. It's claimed he spent money Congress never appropriated, bypassing them to spend money on his own priorities. That is a violation of the Constitution, a breach of the separation of powers, and an attempt by him to take power belonging to Congress. The third article concerns the abuse of trade and war powers. The Constitution gives Congress the sole power to declare war through a vote. Congress must authorize military action. Yet, Trump allegedly ordered military strikes without getting Congress's permission. He is charged with using military force without congressional authorization, trying to take the war power away from Congress. That is a violation of the Constitution and an abuse of presidential power. The fourth article covers the violation of First Amendment rights. It claims Trump violated people's right to free speech, persecuted people for using it, and attacked judges for making unfavorable rulings. It's claimed he attacked prosecutors for investigating him and persecuted people for criticizing him, which violates the First Amendment. That is a violation of constitutional rights. The fifth article is about the creation of an unlawful office. Trump allegedly created government positions that Congress did not authorize. He allegedly created unconstitutional offices and appointed people to positions that do not legally exist. That is a violation of the Constitution and a usurpation of Congress's power. The sixth article is focused on bribery and corruption. It claims Trump engaged in bribery, was corrupt, and used the power of his office for his own personal gain. Trump is charged with accepting bribes. That is a high crime. Exactly the kind of misconduct that serves as grounds for impeachment. The seventh article is tyranny. Tyranny is defined as the abuse of power for oppressive purposes or establishing a system of oppression. Tyranny means using government power to dominate people. The article claims his conduct shows intent to establish tyrannical rule and to undermine the Constitution system of checks and balances. The article asserts Trump is trying to consolidate power within the presidency. The article claims he is trying to undermine democracy. That is tyranny. And it's important to note these articles aren't just political criticism. They are formal institutional charges brought by members of Congress using the constitutional process of impeachment. They are stating that Trump committed high crimes and misdemeanors, that he is unfit to govern, and will remain a threat to the Constitution if allowed to remain in office. Those are serious charges, the kind of accusations that justify removal. Now, let's discuss the legal status of these articles. House Resolution 353 was filed as a privileged resolution. A privileged resolution means the filer can force a floor vote without permission from leadership or the Rules Committee scheduling it. The person can simply demand a vote. And on May 13th, 2025, Thanadar filed a notification that he would offer it House Resolution 353 as a privileged resolution that began a countdown starting the process. Unless leadership blocks or delays it, a vote could be on the table. Now, let's shift to the contempt issue because it's equally crucial. Judge James Boasberg handed down a court order. Boasberg's order was clear. Asylum seekers were not to be deported. He issued what's called an injunction, which is a specific type of court order. An injunction essentially says, you must do this or you're forbidden from doing that. It is legally binding and carries the full force of law. If you violate one, you are violating a direct court order, defying the judge and breaking the law. But the Trump administration violated that injunction. His administration deported asylum seekers, directly violating Boasberg's order. The Trump administration disobeyed the court's command. His administration defied the judge, and when the news reached Boasberg, he immediately reviewed all the facts. He concluded there was probable cause to hold the government in criminal contempt. Probable cause means there's enough evidence to suggest a crime was committed. In this case, it meant Boasberg had solid grounds to believe that contempt of court had actually happened. This meant criminal contempt charges were justified. So Boasberg gave the Trump administration a deadline, saying, fix this violation or face contempt proceedings. He basically said, comply with my order or I will hold you in contempt. That's a serious threat with very real consequences. This was no empty warning. Judge Boasberg has the authority to find people in contempt and the power to levy sanctions. He even holds the power to put people in jail for contempt. Now, Let's discuss the wider pattern, as this is far from a one-time event. The Trump administration was consistently violating court orders and repeatedly defying judges. An analysis by the Washington Post revealed that Trump officials were accused of disregarding approximately 1/3 of all significant court rulings against them. That's 1 out of every 3. This means that after losing a case, the Trump administration simply ignored the ruling and chose not to comply. His administration just kept doing the very thing the court ordered them to stop. And they achieved this in numerous ways. They were intentionally delaying compliance, holding back evidence, and repackaging blocked policies under new titles. The Trump administration was essentially declaring that judges hold no power over them and that they are not required to follow court orders. The administration was defying the entire judicial branch, which is the definition of contempt of court and a profound disrespect for our legal system. This is a clear violation of the separation of powers. Now, let's explore what happens when judges decide to force compliance by using contempt. Judges have 2 kinds of contempt power at their disposal. The first is civil contempt, which means the judge levies fines or sanctions. These penalties are designed to force compliance with civil contempt. The judge basically says, if you refuse to comply with my order, you will have to pay a fine for every single day. Civil contempt involves escalating penalties until the individual complies. And it can even lead to jail time. That means jail time until that person complies. So if the Trump administration fails to obey a court order, a judge could say, all right, you must pay $10,000 a day until you comply, or $100,000 a day, or even $1 million a day until you do. That is civil contempt in a nutshell. The second type is criminal contempt. This is when a judge punishes someone for breaking the order. Criminal contempt means the violation itself is considered a crime. The person can be fined or jailed as a punishment, which can mean serving jail time as a penalty. The violation is treated just like any other criminal act. A judge can find a person in criminal contempt, sentence them to jail, or refer the matter to prosecutors. A judge can determine that a crime has been committed and then refer the case to the Justice Department to be prosecuted. The Justice Department can then decide to prosecute, file charges, and that person could face a trial and ultimately be convicted. Someone could face jail time. Now, here's what's critical in Trump's situation. As the president, he is in charge of the Justice Department. So Trump isn't going to prosecute himself. He controls the prosecutors and won't allow his own administration to be charged for contempt. But civil contempt is a different animal. It doesn't need a prosecutor. It's a penalty a judge can issue directly. A judge can find someone in civil contempt and levy fines or jail time, completely bypassing the Justice Department. A judge can do this straight from the bench. And that's precisely the threat judges are making. They are saying, if you continue to violate my orders, I will find you in civil contempt, I will impose fines, and I will impose escalating penalties. Eventually, I will order jail time. Judges are stating, you must comply with my orders or face prison. That is a legitimate threat, a real consequence, and Trump is powerless to stop it or control it. He can't use the Justice Department to shield his officials from a contempt charge because contempt isn't prosecuted by the Justice Department. It is enforced by the judge directly. All right, let me break this down into the 3 key points that matter about the impeachment articles and the contempt threat, because this is crucial for understanding the dual pressure Trump is now facing. First point, and this is on record in official House filings. Representative Shri Thanadar introduced House Resolution 353 on April 28, 2025, which lays out 7 articles of impeachment against Trump, including obstruction of justice, usurpation of Congress's appropriation and war powers, violation of First Amendment rights, and the creation of unlawful offices, bribery, corruption, and tyranny, alleging that Trump's behavior shows an intent to establish tyrannical rule and that he will continue to be a threat to the Constitution if he is allowed to stay in office. This is not some casual complaint. This is a formal institutional indictment using the constitutional power of impeachment. Second point, and this is equally grave. Judge James Boasberg issued a finding on April 18th, 2025, that probable cause existed to hold the Trump administration in criminal contempt for deporting asylum seekers against his prior court order. And a Washington Post analysis discovered that Trump officials were accused of ignoring roughly one-third of significant negative court rulings in more than 160 lawsuits by withholding evidence, dragging their feet on compliance, or reissuing blocked policies under different names. So you have judges documenting this defiance, you have judges finding probable cause for contempt, and you have a clear pattern of violating court orders. Third point, and this is the most immediate threat. Legal experts explain that if the Trump administration continues to defy court orders, judges are able to impose civil contempt, including increasing fines and jail time until compliance is met, or they can refer criminal contempt to prosecutors. And these powers exist independent of Trump's authority over the Justice Department because judges can enforce civil contempt right from the bench without needing a prosecutor. So you have a legal path from defiance straight to jail, and you have judges mapping out exactly how they will enforce compliance. You've got actual consequences for violating court orders. Now let's get into what the convergence of impeachment and contempt means for Trump. Trump is facing removal by Congress, and he's facing jail time from judges. Trump is being squeezed from two different directions. Congress wants to remove him, and the judges want to jail him, and Trump is running out of options to escape both threats. Think about the timeline. The impeachment articles are filed, and Fanadar is filed to make House Resolution 353 a privileged resolution, which means a vote can be forced. It could happen soon. It could happen next month. It could happen at any moment. And once the House votes to impeach, the Senate trial takes place, the Senate votes, and if enough Republicans join Democrats, Trump is removed. At the same time, judges are finding probable cause for contempt, giving the administration deadlines, and threatening to impose fines and jail time. And if Trump's administration keeps defying orders, judges will follow through. They're going to hold people in contempt. Judges will impose penalties, and they will order jail time. So Trump could face removal while in jail. Meanwhile, Trump could be removed from office by the Senate while his officials are being jailed for contempt. That's one scenario. That's a possibility. That is where this is all heading if Trump keeps pushing. Now, here's what is so crucial about the tyranny charge in the impeachment articles. Tyranny isn't just an abstract idea. It's not just something you call someone in political rhetoric. Tyranny is a specific legal concept. Tyranny means abusing power for oppressive ends. It means violating the Constitution, and it means trying to consolidate power in the presidency. Tyranny means undermining checks and balances. It is exactly what the founders feared and precisely what the Constitution is designed to stop. And the House is formally accusing Trump of tyranny. They are using the constitutional term stating his conduct constitutes tyranny. That is a very serious charge, the kind of charge that warrants removal, the type of charge that says Trump is trying to become a dictator. Think about what that implies. The House is saying Trump is trying to be a tyrant. The House is saying he's trying to consolidate power. The House is saying Trump is undermining the Constitution, while judges are saying he is defying court orders and violating the rule of law. The judges are saying Trump is acting above the law. Both judges and Congress are reaching an identical conclusion. Trump is a threat to constitutional democracy. Now, let's discuss the contempt issue more specifically, because that's what could actually send Trump to jail. Contempt of court is a serious offense. Contempt means violating a court order. It means disrespecting the court's authority, and it means refusing to follow the law itself. And judges have the power to enforce their orders through contempt. They can punish contempt, and they can fine people for contempt. Judges can send people to jail for contempt. Now, Trump is the president. He controls the executive branch. Trump controls federal agencies and their officials. If those officials violate a court order, they are in contempt of the court. Those officials are defying the judge, they are breaking the law, and judges can hold those very officials in contempt. Judges can fine those officials and jail those officials. And here is what is so important. Trump can't stop it. He controls the Justice Department, but he does not control the judges. Trump can't fire judges. Trump can't order judges to release his people. He has no power over judges. The judiciary has independent authority. judges enforce the law, and if Trump's officials violate court orders, judges will hold them in contempt. He cannot prevent it. Think about that. Imagine Trump's officials being jailed for contempt. Think about his administration's officials going to prison for defying court orders. Imagine Trump forced to watch that unfold while either still in office or having just been removed. Think of the scandal. Think of the chaos. Consider the constitutional crisis. And here's the warning from judges. If Trump continues to defy their orders, if the Trump administration keeps violating injunctions, judges will respond with contempt charges. Judges will not tolerate defiance indefinitely. Judges have limits, they have patience, but eventually they are going to say enough is enough, and then they will hold people in contempt. They are going to impose penalties, and they are going to order jail time. Judge Boasberg has already established probable cause. Judge Boasberg has put the Trump administration on notice. He's given them a firm deadline, so the clock is ticking for them to comply. Failure to do so could trigger contempt proceedings, which may lead to jail time. Now, let's break down what would happen if multiple judges started holding people in contempt. What if it's not just one case, but many cases involving judges across the country? Imagine Trump officials being held in contempt. What if you had judges in D.C., New York, and other places all issuing contempt charges? What if judges in California were also holding officials in contempt? We'd see multiple judges, multiple contempt findings, and multiple officials in jail. That scenario amounts to a constitutional crisis. It's a complete breakdown of the separation of powers, with the executive branch attempting to defy the judicial branch, and the judicial branch is refusing to yield. That's the judiciary enforcing the rule of law against a president trying to act above it. This is the direction we're heading if Trump fails to change his course. Here is why this is critical for everyone watching right now. The rule of law hinges on people following court orders. It hinges on the executive branch obeying judges and on no one being above the law. Yet Trump is defying court orders. The Trump administration is ignoring injunctions. Trump treats the judicial system as if it doesn't apply to him. And judges are now pushing back. Judges are finding probable cause for contempt. They are threatening jail time, and they are upholding the rule of law. And Congress is firing back too. Congress is filing articles of impeachment and accusing Trump of engaging in tyranny. Congress is stating that Trump poses a threat to the Constitution. As Congress moves toward removal, both government branches are pushing back against Trump. Both branches are saying Trump has crossed a line. Both are getting ready to act, and Trump is caught in the crossfire. Trump faces removal by Congress and potential jail time from judges. He appears to have nowhere left to turn. Trump cannot fight both branches at once. He can't survive impeachment and contempt charges simultaneously. The pressure is on, and he is running out of time. He is also running out of options. So to put it all in perspective, Representative Srithanadar introduced House Resolution 353 on April 28, 2025, which contains 7 articles of impeachment, accusing Trump of obstructing justice, usurping the powers of Congress, violating First Amendment rights, along with bribery, corruption, and tyranny, arguing that Trump's behavior shows an intent to create a tyrannical government and that he will continue to be a threat to the Constitution. House Resolution 353 was filed as a privilege resolution, starting a timer that could force a House vote on impeachment. At the same time, Judge James Boasberg found probable cause to hold the Trump administration in criminal contempt for defying his court order on asylum seekers and set a compliance deadline. A Washington Post analysis found Trump officials have been accused of ignoring roughly 1/3 of significant unfavorable court rulings. This is the convergence point. Congress is moving to remove him while judges are threatening contempt. This is both branches of government simultaneously turning up the pressure on Trump. This is the final stage. This is where it's all going. Consider what it would mean if Trump were removed by the Senate while his officials are being jailed for contempt. Think about the sheer chaos and the constitutional crisis. Think of a president being ousted from office while his administration is held in contempt and facing actual jail time. That is unprecedented. That would be historic. It is the kind of event that would reshape American politics entirely. And here's the most important part. It is a real possibility. The impeachment articles are filed. Contempt is on the table. Both are very real and well documented. Both actions are underway, and Trump cannot stop either one. He does not control Congress, and he does not control the judges. Trump is caught between two government branches moving against him at the same time. So this is no longer a remote threat. This is something that could unfold soon. The House could vote on impeachment next month, and judges could impose contempt next week. Either one could happen, or both could happen at once. And when they do, when impeachment and contempt converge, that is when you see what a real constitutional crisis looks like. That is when you will see the system fight back against a president trying to put himself above the law. That's when you'll see both government branches enforcing the Constitution against a president attempting to violate it. Stay tuned, because the clock is ticking and an impeachment vote could be imminent. The contempt proceedings could also advance quickly. And when both of these actions are moving forward simultaneously, Trump will be facing the most severe constitutional crisis since Watergate. He'll be fighting for his political survival against both Congress and the courts. Trump will be facing removal from office and potential jail time all at once. And that's when we see whether the Constitution and the rule of law can truly survive a president trying to destroy them. That is the ultimate test. That is what lies ahead, and it is coming soon.